final stages of Christmas, and Boxing Day is winding up for you guys over there. I hope you've all had a wonderful Christmas and received lots of beautiful presents, and everybody's safe and had a beautiful time. I'm Michelle Conway. This is Psychic Angel Guidance, and you're on A1R Psychic Radio, the best radio network for psychics in the whole world. I believe the universe is what I've been told by my guides. Anyway, we're leading up to, as you know, the final part of 2017. That's been really good year for some people, and for others it's been an absolute test. It's tested them right to the end of their soul's will to live. Some people, from what I've a really big year. There's been lots of changes take place and lots of new starts and lots of finishing offs that have taken place for many, many people. And I have a very special guest on today, and his name is Peter Burns, and he is an amazing astrologer. Oh, and he's been doing this for quite a while. Haven't you, Peter?
I've been doing it for about 30 years, Michelle. Started in the late 1980s doing palmistry first and then went on to astrology.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So what was it that drew you into the astrology?
Well, first of all, it was palmistry, and there's so many coincidences about palmistry and the connection to astrology. Just had to learn astrology. And so I did, and the two are very much connected. But there's very few astrologers who are also palmists, which is very unfortunate, because the lines on their hands often show the paths of the planets. Yeah.
Yeah, I dabble a little bit with palmistry. I do look at a tiny little bit. It gets too much for me because you've got to bring in all the planets and all the different lumps on your fingers and things all mean different planets and stuff. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct, Michelle. You've got to bring them all in. It's all about interpreting the lines according to the context of the shape of the hand. Different hand shapes change the meanings of the lines a bit. Yes, that's how it works basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And is it true that you read one hand as your spiritual hand and one is your earth plane hand?
Well, I'm not sure about that. Basically, the hand that you don't use to write with, we call it the inner hand, represents the inner world. That shows what you want and what you desire. The other hand, which is usually the hand that you write with, will show how you go about fulfilling those desires. So there's a natural interplay between the two of them. So what you want to achieve, your career, and the other hand will show how you go about doing that, which is quite fascinating. Yeah, it's like the yin-yang symbol, you know.
So, in actual fact, this would be something that was created way back before medieval times when they relied on the astrology of the planetary alignments and all of that was taking place in the universe, and they found it in their hand. Is that how it could be linked? Does that make sense?
Well, the history of palmistry is so ancient. It was already ancient 5,000 years ago, so we don't really know where its origins began, where it started. And the history of astrology is quite similar, although the modern horoscopic astrology, where you've got your own natal horoscope, they were invented about 2,500 years ago. Yeah, in Egypt and Sumeria and that region of the earth, yes. Yeah,
okay, wow. I am fascinated, I have to say. I would be able to sit down and just find out lots of exciting information and knowledge from you, no doubt. But one of the reasons that you're here today is to explain what's happening for the transition from 2017 to 2018 and what to expect in 2018 from an astrological perspective.
Well, the basic transition has already just begun over Christmas. It's a very important thing. We have the planet Saturn, which is called the planet of fate or the planet of karma. It's gone into its own sign of Capricorn just as Christmas was coming. And so it's a year, the 2018 will be a year of reckoning. It's a year of facing reality. Yeah, so all the things that we've been doing or preparing for and not preparing for adequately will suffer, or we shall enjoy perhaps the consequences. It's a very important time. We'll find new people arise to positions of authority and power throughout the world. There'll be a transition of people in power, some leaving and some coming. So that's a major force, energy, which is part of the pattern of change. That's just begun. In the middle of 2018, around about, well, it's actually a bit late, it's around about September 2018, we have the planet Uranus, which represents sudden, fast, unexpected changes moving into the very earthy sign of Taurus. So again, we've got another Earth planet. Saturn and Uranus are both in Earth signs, so it's very much a time of reckoning and coming down to some basics and facing consequences in terms of basic things like how the economy works, how we've treated our planet in terms of land and things like that. So that's a time of major changes, and what we're seeing now is the beginning of the cryptocurrencies and things like that. They're likely to have a very major part in the transformation that's coming, yes, in 2018.
Wow, well, that sounds like we're going to have some shaking and moving and clearing, and we've all better hang on.
Some of it we won't like, and some of it we will like, and some of it will not be expected at all. Yes,
okay, yes. Yeah, well, we're certainly leading up for a lot of changes within the political realms at the moment. So from what you've said, it sounds like that's going to, on an astrological level, help to speed those things along or bring it all to the surface for us.
Yes, we won't always like the results, unfortunately. The authority will be stamped on things, which does not bode well, particularly for democracy, for example. We'll see the rise of authoritarian figures. There's a man in charge of the United States, and he will do better perhaps than some people think, but he also has some major challenges. There'll be some very big ups and downs there. So, yes, lots of interesting, as the Chinese would say, interesting times ahead. Yes.
Okay. So for those that are setting off on, say, a new direction as far as work or career go, how
Yes.
2018 look for those people?
Well, I would look at investing in programs or educational resources that give you more standing, more authority. I'd study up on management techniques and look towards group management and things like that as a very good preparation for the years ahead. It's a good time to do these things. It's a good time to also emphasise basic practical things like getting some adequate exercise and keeping fit. Sounds like a very trivial thing to say in regards to your question, but consequences is what we're looking at down the track. And this year now is the time to really put in the hard work to get good results down in the future years. Yes.
So even for those people who don't like working out or, physical activity, how will that fall for them to do the workout?
We can try and find easier ways to perhaps get some in more enjoyable physical activity, fun type activities or group activities or that sort of thing, which might enhance one's capacity to do that. And of course, we do understand that people are different, and some people's personalities and constitutions don't really endow them. It doesn't give a great preference for physical energy or effort. But yes, but still keeping fit. Yes.
Yes, I'm much more focused on going into the spiritual aspect of life. That's where my mind seems to play around a lot during the day. I'm a big daydreamer. So how will it unfold for those that are on a spiritual path or developing themselves on with a spiritual talent like
Yes. So for those, yes, they're sort of facing a similar lesson, if you like. One of the main reasons that we're here is to experience the physical. And no matter how spiritual we are, we can't avoid that because that's why we're here. And so actually succeeding in dealing with the practical, mundane, very mundane, some would say boring matters of life, that's a spiritual lesson in itself, is finding to do that and to deal with that, to deal with what does not appear to be success, in other words, failure at different points, or setbacks. This is part of the spiritual lesson, and finding ways to manage that process in face of the difficulties that can arise. This is a major spiritual lesson. It's one that's often avoided and not mentioned, of course. So here I am being brave and game and actually saying so. I might not win the popularity rating by doing that, but I think that's the truth. And because I don't actually do much in a commercial sense with my astrology at the moment, it doesn't matter to me whether people like what I say or don't. So I just come forth and say the truth as it seems to be correct.
And that's the best way to be, to speak your truth and
Yes.
stand in your own truth. People feel that. People can sense when you're coming from that place of inner truth and integrity,
Yes.
and you're acting with love and doing what you love. People are drawn to that. You know, they can't help it because that's what we're all searching for in a way, isn't it? You know?
That's right. Yes, yes, certainly is. And we're only here for a short time, of course, and it's a bit like somebody jumping into a river. You know, you jump in at one side and you get out at the other side, and along the way the currents can push you forward fast so that you live a longer life, or pull you back so you live a shorter life, but you've still got to get across to the other side, and it really doesn't take very long. So it's important to look at these facts about why, in fact, we are here and what basic lessons, and they're all about this is the material world that we've entered for the time being, so we do have to experience it to its fullest and overcome those things which draw us towards unhealthier lifestyles, attitudes, and so forth. Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, well, we've got Tammy from Houston on the line. Hi, Tammy. How are you tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. I've got 2 sick people. My mother's very sick with pneumonia and the flu. She's 88 years old, and she's fighting for her life. And then I have my husband that I have been married to for 29 years. He's got the pneumonia, too. So it's just kind of a hard time right now.
Well, I'm just going to say a little quick prayer. I'm going to ask and call upon the Divine Lord God and the Divine Lady Goddess and all the angels in heaven and the Archangel Raphael to be with you, to circle all your loved ones and family and your sick family members in light, love and healing, okay, to help carry them into the new energy. Now, we've got Peter Burns on, and he's an astrologer, and if we can get your date of birth, Peter will be able to give you a quick rundown of what 2018 has to offer you.
Okay. So great. Thank you.
And what is your date of birth?
4/11/64.
You're a Scorpio. Well.
No, I'm Aries. Aries. 4/11. Aries.
We do it the other way around.
Yes.
First, I see. So the 11th day of the 4th month, is that it?
The 4/11/64.
Yes, 54. Okay. All right. Well,
no, 64. 64.
64.
64.
Hey, we're the same age.
Oh, Ari, well, great.
So,
that's
yes,
wonderful.
The 11th day of April 1964. Have I got that correct? So,
yes, that's correct.
Yes. So you were born on a full moon. On a new moon. Aries sun and Aries moon together. So that's a very forward sort of person. Somebody with a bit of fire in the belly and lots of energy and things like that. Now, you're concerned about your mother and your partner, I think. Is that correct?
And my daughter, I've got a daughter that's sick, and I've also got 2 grandchildren that are sick that possibly have the pneumonia too.
Yes, they'll get better. It's a good year for them. They will recover. Okay, and particularly we're looking around, really through January, February, you'll find them picking up again. And that's just around the corner.
Thank you.
That's quite nice. And the other one was perhaps your mother, was it?
My mother's 88.
88. Well. Yes.
Well, she pulled through surgery. She pulled through surgery this morning, and she's going to surgery tomorrow, but she's pretty strong, and we're hoping that, she'll have to have a feeding tube and a trichotomy in her throat, but that's okay, as long as I can still have her. If I can't, if God's will is to take her, that's okay.
Yes. She's definitely got, according to the astrology, she's certainly got some challenges there. Doesn't mean they can't be overcome, of course. And it has to do with the voice and the throat. Yes, that's true. Yes, and the other person I think you mentioned was your partner, was it?
Yes.
Yes. So is he on some sort
he has a lot of diseases. He's kidney failure, congestive heart failure, and he's also got enlarged heart. And he's worse than my 88-year-old mother.
Yes. We have the planet Neptune there for him. So
would it help Peter if Tammy gave you her husband's date of birth? Maybe you could have a look at what's happening for him.
Yeah.
September 28th. His birthday is September 28th, 1963.
Yes. All right, yes. Well, it shows here that the medication is having a big effect on the way he looks at things. Like he's got medication for various things. Is that correct?
You've got that correct. Dead on it.
Yeah, so it's turning his head around a bit. It's making it very difficult for him to see things clearly. But, however, yes, but it's not all bad news. As we particularly look, I think 2018 is still difficult. I've got to give you the truth as I see it. 2019 is on the recovery path. Yeah, 2019 is on the recovery path. He's not quite there yet. He's still upset a little bit. He has to just, it's easy to say don't take too much medication, but not overdoing it's a good thing if possible. Yeah.
Right.
I know you know this already. Yes.
No, that's true.
Yes. But yes, Michelle, off you go.
No. I was just going to say I'm picking up on a cycle for her partner that he is going to come out the other side of this, okay? He's coming out with a lot of learnings. He is going to recover, but it is going to be a long, stretched-out healing period for him because I do feel he's quite low in energy at the moment and he's have to rebuild the energy again in himself, all right? And this is where it's going to be relying on you a lot. So with that, it's going to be important for you to look after yourself and to most important, find what brings you happiness so that you can be there for him in 2018, okay? Yeah, so...
Well, actually, I was going to get a divorce. That's what I was going to do. But, I know that's kind of funny, but... That's what I was doing. I was planning on leaving him in about March or April.
Well, this might be where I'm picking up that you've got to do what's important for you and bring in what you love to do to give you that strength. That'll be where I'm picking that up from. So you're certainly going to be going
in. Yeah, because I've got a big heart. That's my problem. I've got a very big heart for everyone.
Yeah, I don't know that you'll totally walk away from him. I don't feel like you'll walk away living in the condition he's in to get through it himself, but I do feel he'll come out the other end, okay? Have you got anything else you'd like to add to that, Peter?
Yes, basically, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think what he's got there is the planet Neptune, which is about medication and being dependent and maybe taking too much, not taking enough responsibility himself, and being overly reliant. These could be some of the factors, and I guess your reaction to that is what you're doing in a way, or to some extent. And so that process is still going to play itself out. And at the end of the day, he does have to take some responsibility for where he is and what's happened. Yes.
Yeah, he does.
Because I am a caregiver. I am a caregiver, and I take care of a lot of people besides my mom and him, and he just solely depends on me. And, you know, the doctors have even told him he's bipolar and all that. And, you know, I can't deal with it anymore. I just feel like I have got to get away.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I was up there tonight with him at the hospital, of course. I mean, I was up there with my mom and him. They're in the same hospital.
You might find there's a time where you're living like a dual life, and this will be the one path where you're bringing in that happiness and you're doing what makes yourself feel good, and you're actually setting yourself off onto a new direction, but then you're living that other life, then him to come out the other side and slowly withdrawing your energy so that it can start to make him be more responsible for his actions. And as he gets stronger, I feel like you will withdraw your energy from him. Now, I do feel that some of the medication that he's on, he will be able to come off of, but that's going to be down the track. And by then, I feel like you'll be way down the path that you're starting to bring in that happiness, to bring in that goodness for yourself that you're going to be starting. You've already started it. You've already planted those seeds by having these thoughts. Yeah. So you've already got the visions of where you want yourself to be going for the last, for 2018. Okay, so that sort of all resonates with what Peter was saying at the start of the show, how, what was it, Peter, the middle of the year, there's going to be that landing of the Taurus energy and
earthy stuff. Yes, getting ill of one situation, facing the facts, these hard things to do, but it's still real. Yes.
That's probably the time when you'll find that you're going to say to your husband, right, I've left you. He won't realise you've actually left until that point, and that's when it's going to be grounded, your decision of which direction you'll move into. Does that make sense for you?
That does make sense. It completely sense.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So at the moment, moving in with this energy, we've got only a few seconds left, so we're going to finish up. So, what would you say is the best way for Tammy to move into 2018 with what's happening on her plate now for her?
That's right. That's right. Exactly. You've got it, Michelle. Yes. Just got to deal with what's there and move forward.
Yep. So eat up all your veggies and all the things that you like first that are on your plate. Embrace all the things that are beautiful and wonderful about your life is what I'm saying in that little metaphor. And leave the stuff that you don't like, that you just want to twirl around the plate there and slowly nibble away at, because you will work through that as the new energy comes in. As Peter said, it's already started at Christmas time, and you're already in that flow. You're already activated and off and running. Okay, so I'm going to have to leave it there, Tammy. Happy New Year. Big hugs. Let us know how you go.
All the best, Tammy.
And I'd love to say thank you, Peter, so much for having you on. My gosh, I would have gotten really lost and caught up in a huge, big conversation with you in such a short time there. So it was, I'll have to have you back, and we'll get a topic, okay? Do you have a way, anybody, if they did want to contact you over the internet for a private consultation, like typed out, do you do those astrology typed out?
I don't do very much, but I would help somebody perhaps. The email address is Peter Burns, that's BURNS 01@gmail.com. And thank you very much for having us on the show.
You're welcome. Just before you go, though, Peter, your astrological study led you to start an exciting expo, didn't it?
Yes, I run psychic, wellbeing and psychic expos here in the state of Victoria, Australia, on the other side of the globe to many of our audiences. And in 2 weeks' time, we're having a wonderful expo with all sorts of people, including Michelle Conway, would you believe?